Welcome back, everybody. I'm super excited today, as I always am. I got great guests, which are great sponsors, and I have a returning sponsor today. This time, in a longtime friend. 20, and let's not get into the numbers, but a longtime friend from the EP industry. We're brothers in EPI, and he is the founder and the biggest promoter of A.L.I.V.E active shooter survival training and MPS security. I have with us today a very good guy. I'm proud to know him, Michael Julian. Mike, thanks for being here as always.
My pleasure, Craig. Good to be here, buddy. Good. Looking forward to seeing you in December.
Yeah, same. So let's jump into it. For for the four people who don't know who you are in this industry, tell us a little bit about you, about A.L.I.V.E or MPS, or whatever it is that you're thinking about today.
Well, whenever anyone asks me about my career or the history of doing what I do, I always have to start at the very beginning with my father because I have to credit him with the reason I'm even here. When my father left military and law enforcement, he started our company in 1967. I was born after that, believe it or not, despite how I look. And so I grew up doing corporate and business and civil litigation investigations, executive protection. He passed in 97, and one of his three wishes on his deathbed was to keep the business going. So to honor my father, I didn't just keep it going. I expanded it exponentially. We're much bigger than he probably ever could have imagined or comprehended, which makes me feel good, like I'm honoring his memory. And so now, we're a national company doing licensed in multiple states, doing corporate and civil investigations, civil litigation investigations. But the majority of our work is in executive protection. And we do more EP outside of California than we do inside. We're also licensed in Nevada, so we do quite a bit of work in Las Vegas. 2014, I launched the A.L.I.V.E Active Shooter Survival Training Program. It was a methodology that I came up with after studying these events and believed that there was some gaps in what was being taught by other training companies. Not to put them down, because I think most training is better than no training, except for those companies that scare the hell out of their students and cause PTSD and lawsuits and heart attacks. I don't agree with that, and I will not allow my instructors to do that. We currently have over 300 instructors in 7 countries. Obviously, some of the countries don't even have much in the way of guns, so they teach active killer survival from edged weapons and vehicles and fire and explosives. But yeah, so the A.L.I.V.E program is it's a big deal. It's a passion project of mine. I'm very proud of it. And the reason that I typically promote stuff like this is because I've got an instructor certification course. It's a 2-day course that people can learn how to teach my class, my course, and make a business out of it. I don't have any employee instructors. They're all subcontractors and independents. And like I said, in 7 countries. So the A.L.I.V.E program is taught to all kinds of organizations, schools, houses of worship, commercial, retail, business environments all over the world.
Well, that's impressive because I think that number went up from even when the last time we spoke, for I think maybe Vegas, the Vegas mixer that you so kindly sponsored, and that's I and I mean it's a continuing testament. Plus, it's 10 years. I mean, it's over 10 years old, or it's coming. I mean, it's 10 years old now, and has no thoughts or seems to have no signs of slowing down. It seems like you're sprinting now. It seems so.
Well,
That's
unfortunately, the world needs this. And it's,
yeah.
I not to brag, but it's been pretty it's pretty highly regarded. It's a good methodology, and it's a good program. And there's others out there. So I'm not saying but it's a good program. It's well done, it's well made, it's all encompassing, it's very realistic. Some of the more snowflake progressive corporations don't necessarily agree with me because they think that they should protect their employees from words like violence. And they say if we don't allow violence in our organization. And I say, well, neither did YouTube. But when that lady drove across the country and shot up YouTube headquarters and thank God didn't kill anybody, but really wounded a lot of people. they didn't allow violence in their culture, but somebody from outside their culture brought it to their doorstep, and they weren't really that prepared. Thank God, law enforcement uh, was so on the spot and took care of business so quickly. But you know, being this whole woke thing where you're safe spaces and protecting people from reality, you're neglecting your duty to protect your people if you are protecting them from the reality of this world and what can happen to you by not educating and training to prepare.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Mike, but these people have jobs, or they have, let's say they've worked 40 hours a week, the 128 hours that are left in a day, or in a week, that they're at the grocery store, which I remember, like, that's we talk about, like, what are you doing when you walk into the restaurant with your family, right? It's not just you're worried about now. It's that those three, four, five, whatever number of people that are now in your care. So not only are you preparing them at work, if they're willing to the company's willing to have you, you're now providing them safe, I don't want to say haven, but just safety outside of there to come back to work, or whatever. But it's like, here you go, there's other things we value for you besides here. And I don't know that anybody's looking at that deeply. Not say that that was a deep thought, but it's just where else can we help the people that help us? So
Yeah, no, that was well said.
yeah. So we'll appreciate that. So since I'm going to let you just talk about it, the question is, what do you have coming up in the next 12 months that is exciting to you? But you have launched something very recently that last time we talked, you were very excited about. So I don't know if you want to talk about that or whatever it is that you have coming up. I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah,
And
no, I
so
actually,
would
I
I.
actually really would. My program's 10 years old. I've got great people in place. I've got a president that runs all four verticals of all four of my businesses, for the most part, from the business perspective. So I get to work on my business rather than in my business. I've got great people in A.L.I.V.E. My master instructor, Josh Sullivan, who just got married last weekend, and that was a beautiful wedding. I flew
Oh,
to
awesome.
Maryland for that.
I got to shoot him a text. Thank you
Yep,
for letting me know.
I've got senior instructors all over the country. I've got trading coordinators. I've got a really good organization. So that is, I don't want to say it's on autopilot. I'm still the face of the program and I'm still
Mm,
involved. But where my love and passion and energy and excitement is right now is I launched a new podcast. Built a podcast studio in the building I own here, and I am just having the time of my life interviewing some of the most interesting people. And because of my history in this industry, 36 years or whatever, a lot of my friends and associates are from the EP world. So
sure.
a lot of my guests end up coming from there. But this is not a security or investigations or executive protection podcast. My podcast is called Down and Dirty with Michael Julian, and it's about interviewing people who have overcome adversity, who have dealt with trauma and drama and abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, emotional, adoption, losing members of their family very young, any kind of childhood or adult trauma that somebody has gone through that either would have made or break them. And these all people decided to let it inspire them to become empowered and mature and evolved, and who are now inspirations to others who might be dealing with the same or may someday deal with the same type of trauma. So I've had some absolutely wonderful guests, some of whom you know. I've got some, and they tell these stories, and I'm telling you, dude, I keep tissue right there because they're not the only one crying sometimes.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I've had, and like Jared Van Dries and Jerry Hang I just interviewed, who I never knew Jerry had such an interesting, childhood growing up. I mean, he used to be a freaking long-haired hippie in
Yeah.
San Diego. I never knew that
Yeah.
about the guy.
Yeah.
Um, I've had Christian West, I've had Joe LaSorsa. God, I mean, I've had some just Eric Ooch. I just had Eric Ooch, who we both know, who I just
Yes.
love this guy. I swear
Yeah.
to God, he's the only EP guy I know with a head covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
So at first glance, he's a little bit, you're not sure what to make of him. We peeled
Mhm.
back so many layers in that interview. I just grew to love the guy and now can call him a friend and
Yeah.
can't wait to see him at, the IPSB in Nashville in December and spend more time with the guy. But it's enriching and fulfilling, and it does something for my soul to talk to people like this, because I have a pretty interesting background in childhood growing up and had a few things, but I don't make it about me. I make it about them, and I hear their stories, and their stories are inspiring to people who either are dealing with that, dealt with that, or are going to deal with that type of trauma or adversity or challenges in their life. And it's just inspiring, and it's a very feel good podcast.
Yeah. Well, agreed. Right before we jumped on, I was telling you I was in the one with Eric. It was he's fun to listen to. Like you said, this is as much as I've ever laughed in any podcast
Me too.
because like just the way he tells stories and the things that he's done. It just he's such an interesting guy. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch the one with Elizabeth Forster because
Very
she's
good.
a friend of mine too.
Yeah.
Um, Christian, I saw Joe, I saw part of. I saw Alan Baker. I haven't watched it yet, but Alan, when I first met him, and we both been part of EPI for I don't know how long. And it was the first time I met him was in the conference in 2022, I think, the one
Yeah.
before Nashville last year. So I guess 2 years ago. Man, that guy is, and
He's amazing.
he's yeah, he is so
He's like a
even.
Shaolin monk. He's the
He
guy's so
is.
at peace and
Yeah,
so smart, and so his energy, just standing next to the guy makes you feel better. But then
yeah,
listening to him talk, it's like holy shit. He's like a philosopher. He's a martial artist.
mhm,
He's a great guy. I mean, just these people, I'm so fortunate, and that's why I truly love my podcast. And
yeah.
we're always looking for new guests. I mean, we probably got 5 episodes that haven't even aired yet. We just launched season 2 will launch in October, and it will start with on or near the anniversary of the Las Vegas massacre, which was
Okay,
October 1st.
for sure.
Matt Clock, who's a longtime friend of mine, he's a Pinkerton, he's with Pinkerton, he's a regional manager. Great guy. He was there, and he's got a very, very emotional and compelling story about surviving that and what he went
Okay.
through. So
Oh wow.
I'm looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
we're looking for sponsors. We've got some great sponsors: Premier Body Armor, Executive Protection Institute.
Hmm.
But we are looking for sponsors that are going to benefit the world that we live in. Not just a plumber that's local to me, but someone that any of my audience, my international audience, can benefit from. And we're always looking for great new guests.
Great. Well, cool. Well, hopefully this helps. As we put things out. Obviously you've been kind enough to share. When we last time we recorded, the last interview that we did, and so I'm happy to share with you, put out and obviously I'll direct people now that I know that you're looking. I'm happy to send people that way. So I know we could go on and on about that, and I know that you would love to talk about that, but for more people, for to maybe understand why what motivated you to be part of I mean you've kind of answered this a little bit, but like what motivated the company to sponsor a networking event like the EP Mixer, and how does it kind of align with your goals, or with your business goals?
Well, MPS Security and Protection, like I said, it's a national EP company. Um, it just makes sense to be a sponsor because we work with many of the other sponsors. We subcontract to and subcontract from. Sorry, my fucking phone watch keeps going off. We work closely with many of the other sponsors, with many of the other EP companies. We do a lot of subcontract work throughout the nation. And then also the A.L.I.V.E program. We're always looking for new instructors. We've had 42 courses in the last 5 years. We got over 300 instructors, but my vision is for the A.L.I.V.E program to be, good Lord, would you shut up, please? Sorry. My vision is for the A.L.I.V.E program to be the most used, the most taught, the most highly regarded and respected active shooter, active killer preparation and response program on the planet. As far as I know, the only one bigger than me has been around for 25 years. And like I said, I don't put my competition down unless they're doing a bad job. But almost all training is better than no training.
Mhm.
Um, I want everybody, and part of my vision and mission is for every person on the planet to someday have been exposed to some degree to the A.L.I.V.E program, because it's about empowerment. It's not just run, hide, fight. Half of it is mindset. The other is method. Run, hide,
Mhm.
fight is method. Mindset. If your brain is not prepared to tell your body to run, hide, fight because it's overcome with stress and the chaos and the fear, and you become paralyzed and you lose hope and you become a victim, you're not going to do yourself or anyone any damn good.
Mhm.
So my program is about empowerment, and I want everybody to feel empowered, even if it's just applied to taking a test in college, or doing a better job as a husband or wife because your marriage is suffering. It's about empowerment. I think that's an important message that isn't out there enough now.
Well, right, and I think you and I have had conversations about that. Of the armor that we tend to put on when we go out, right? And because when you're going to work, it's like, all right, that locked in. This is my goal. Here's what we're doing. And we're protecting people. That's important. Important to my family. It's important to their family, their company, and on and on. Um, but when you're in a room full of people that have similar interests, if nothing else, EP, and you can get get their guard down just a little bit. And I was talking to Flannery the other day, and he's like, probably grease the wheels with a little booze. You can have some really open and honest conversation, which for you is perfect because it's exactly what you're promoting within the podcast. So I think
Yeah.
that's awesome, and I'm grateful that you came on as a sponsor and that you've continued to do that. So thank you for that. And I think this is another kind of thing. I think you kind of lead the way that I structured my questions. I think just kind of led into um, each one. So are there any like the key messages? I mean, you said empowerment. That's clear. Brand value or any brand values that you want to communicate through the sponsorship outside of anything that you haven't said already.
No, just well, I just want to say that when you see me, I will be there in Orlando. It's yeah, in Orlando.
Yep.
This one's going to be in Orlando. This is not for Nashville, right?
No, this is correct. This is yeah. Yep. Next month.
Yeah, next month. So I'll be there. And if I don't know you, please come up and introduce yourself. I think the most valuable thing that you can give someone is your time. And I'm always, unless I have to be somewhere, I'm always happy to sit and chat with everybody. I have learned in my many, many years on this planet some great lessons. And that is, you never know when you're going to meet somebody that could be your greatest friend, or someone you can learn from, or someone that you can teach something to. So I love talking to people, and I don't care what industry, and I don't care what they look like or economic status. So I hope that people will come up and introduce themselves, and so I can start a relationship with them. And if they're good people, I will maintain a relationship with them. And if they're not, I will let them learn their lessons on their own, or if I can be an example, I will. But I like people, and I like good people. So I hope that people will never be afraid to walk up and say hello, and start a conversation so I can get to know them.
Yep. Well, I'll say this about that. And I don't know if I told you this, but at the mixer last year, same event last year in
Vegas.
Dallas, I think.
Was it Dallas? Didn't we
Yeah,
go to one? Did we have Vegas last year?
no, not the mixer, but yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we had Vegas was in April. That was
Okay.
just in April, that one.
Okay.
But when we were in Dallas, we were at the brewery, and I was having a little bit of a tough time because I mean it's a big show. I mean big show, but there's a lot of people at that mixer, and I was catching a little bit of heat from some people about it, and I kind of stepped out of the room to kind of gather myself, and you were there, and you're like, and I told you, you kind of like, you're right. I'm like, and I just kind of vomited on you, and I mean, word vomit, just so we're clear. And I go, here's what's going on. And you're like, dude, don't fucking worry about it. Just everybody's having a good time. Look what's going on. That's one. That's two people. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. You're doing a great job. And then you went about wherever you were going. It was about 15 seconds of, hey, you know what? Pick it up and go. Just keep moving. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? He's absolutely right. that's a successful guy telling me not to worry about it, get on the horse and get back to it. So I did, and everything was fine, and it was great, and all that stuff. So I
Good.
appreciate. If I didn't tell you that before, I'm telling you now. I appreciate you. I appreciate the pep talk, and I appreciate the wisdom. We sat down. I was a couple of years ago, and I think you were coming out of the gym, and I was going to the gym, and you're like, "Hey, you want to get breakfast?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So those are the type of conversations that you're willing to have, like off the cuff, if you can, right? If you don't have to be somewhere, like you said, willing to sit down and share a little bit about what you know or what you're doing or what you see as as good, bad, and different of somebody of a situation. So you're willing to share your thoughts, opinions, and wisdom, and I've been grateful and a recipient of it. So I appreciate
My
you.
pleasure.
Yeah, but so and I know we're coming up on time here. Kind of my last question here is: do you have any successful networking stories that or success stories that are at top of mind for you?
Well, if you want to stick to the theme of networking, that's if you're good networking is going to be the best advertisement and the best way to get business and the best way to meet resources. And let's face it, I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've mentored some people and I've taught some classes, and I think mentoring, networking. First of all, here's my advice to any new guys: get
Please.
your back off the wall. Stop doing this or putting your hands in your pockets. Make sure you got some business cards, put a smile on your face, and go out and meet everybody. Stop this egotistical, insecure bullshit that so many type A's have in this industry. I'll probably walk up to you and break the ice and make you smile and make you relax so you can go out and do the same thing with other people. You're not going to get anywhere in business being a badass with your back against the wall. That in a group full of EP guys is not the place to be situationally aware and head on a swivel, unless your head is on a swivel looking for people to go, I can probably start a relationship with that guy and we could do business together. Or
Yeah.
that guy owns a company in Bumfrick, Ohio, and I might need a subcontractor out there. I'm going to go make friends with that guy.
Hmm.
Here's a great example. Chance Baker. Do you know Chance Baker?
I do. Yep.
Chance Baker and his wife Katrina, we made friends at Christian West's big party in Vegas a couple of years ago during
Yeah.
IPSB.
Sure.
And we ended up, my girlfriend was there. We started BSing with them at the party out of nowhere because they didn't look like they knew a lot of people and they were standing there. So we started talking to them. We've stayed in touch with them. They flew out 3 weeks ago and spent the weekend with us out here in California. And we just had the most wonderful time. And I've used Chad. Chad's flown out to do award shows for me, and we've done business together and stuff like that. That relationship wouldn't happen if we hadn't just gone up and started talking to people. So now not only do we have a professional relationship, we have a personal relationship, and we'll probably be friends with them forever because they're good people. If you build your network, you're creating opportunities that would otherwise not be there. Put a smile on your face. Suck it up if you're insecure or feeling like I don't have the, security or confidence to go up and start talking to people. If you walk up to somebody and say, hi, I'm so and so, how are you, and start a conversation, and they turn around and judge you, fuck them. You don't need to be friends with them. They're an unsophisticated Neanderthal that doesn't understand business or friendship. And guess what? Nobody probably likes them anyway. So move on to the next one that says, thank you, I appreciate the introduction. Let's talk about business or friendship or just have a good night and have some drinks together.
I'll tell you, and it's literally just that simple. I mean, what you said is like, well, that's the concern. I wouldn't know what to say, you try to be empathetic, but it's like, have you had a conversation before? Because if you have, at any level, at any place, you know how to do this. Just go do it. So and as much as we might not like to say it in our industry is, and then there's books that have it in the name. It's like, it's a fear that you have, and you'd rather walk in front of a bullet coming towards your client than go start a conversation. Get out of here with that. Like, that's insane. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got to stop trying to prove ourselves as the quiet protector, super stud guy that we've seen in too many movies and just
mhm.
start being ourselves, because then the business is going to come. And I'll tell you, a client is going to like a person with a personality that can protect him over somebody that can protect him without a personality. So it's always going to be an asset. Another example, Alan Ring. I didn't know who the hell Alan Ring was, but he
Hmm.
just started chatting with me a couple years ago at one of our mixers, at one of your
Hmm.
mixers.
Yeah.
And I love the guy and I've stayed friends with him and I respect the hell out of him. And if I ever have an opportunity, I'm going to give it to him because he came up and he had a personality and he showed confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is very attractive, not just
Oh,
for
100%.
the opposite sex.
Yeah.
You
No.
want people around you that are confident and it
Mhm.
breeds more confidence with everybody else around you.
Yeah, agreed. And Alan's great. He's a great guy, and he's a ball of fire when you get him rolling. Like he's just ready to go. So I share your sentiment about Alan. But anyway, we're essentially excuse me, we're essentially out of time. I know you got things to do. I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. You're obviously busy because your watch won't stop, won't stop. So I appreciate you pushing that off. And thanks. So thanks for your sponsorship. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your friendship. I appreciate you. And I'm glad and I'm proud to always to call you a friend. So thanks for doing
Absolutely.
this, Mike. Yeah.
All right, bud. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody listen, if you have not registered, epmixer.com, www.epmixer.com, get yourself signed up for Wednesday, September 25th, Dave and Buster's in Orlando. It's going to be a great time. That's all I got. Hope you have a great one, and I'll talk to you real soon.